Okay.
Painting each. As we go down the hall to the offices, we enter a work that I've called the Conrad Black Bob White Reading Room. Formerly a seminar room, library for the art students. We've painted one half all black and the other half all white. There we are, Conrad Black and Bob White. Conrad Black is the leading newspaper tycoon of Canada, and Bob White is the leading labor leader. The furniture has been recovered accordingly, and we installed black and white carpets as well. The work that is painted through the offices is called Garry Neill Kennedy Superstar Shadow. I've used a variation of the typeface Superstar Shadow, actually the shadow, and painted it from floor to ceiling throughout the offices. In the director's office, we have the E and the D and the Y of Kennedy, with the Y behind the director's desk. The yellow oxide rectangles are the ghosts of the paintings that were hanging in the office. It's from a work that I did in Montreal in the mid-70s at Optica Gallery. While entering a room called Figure Painting, it's a work I did in New York City in the mid-80s. Figure 1 is the paint used to paint the Canadian fleet. Figure 2 is the paint that was used to paint the United States fleet. And Figure 3, the Mexican fleet. Figure 4 is a mixture of figures 1 and 2 in proportion to the size of the fleets. And Figure 5 is a mixture of Figure 2 and 3 in proportion to the size of their fleets. since there is no noticeable difference in the colors of Figure 5, Figure 4, and Figure 2, we can see that the colors of the fleets of Canada and Mexico cannot affect the colors because of their size of the United States fleet. This is the room where I presented the 6 pink paintings. These are paintings on chipboard, painted with a brush several times. Each chip serves as a brushstroke. They are placed on the wall, alternately flush left on a green wall, and then on a white wall they're centered. They're painted with a fluorescent acrylic pink paint, and I titled them after skin diseases: psoriasis, dermatitis, scabies, impetigo, eczema, etc. As we enter the big room, we are now in the big gallery where I exhibit 4 wall paintings. The work we are looking at is the American History painting, the complete list of Pittsburgh Paint's historic color series. The words/colors are arranged according to their length, with the tower topped off with the word gunstock, which is the color of the wall. Here we have the painting on canvas of the same name. It's a multi-layered painting arranged alphabetically, with 3 coats of each of the 74 colors painted over each other, leaving visible half-inch stripes. It ends on top with a square in the color gunstock. It was painted with a roller. This is a photo blow-up of a tiny cross-section sliced out of the side of the painting. Moving on to the work entitled The Middle East, similar to the American History painting with a photo of its cross-section. The painting on canvas is also layered with 3 coats of 75 different colors arranged alphabetically. They're selected for their titles, which are derived from Middle Eastern cultures, as found in the samples of 6 different household paint companies, such as Collier World, Parapaints, Pratt and Lambert, and so forth. These are 75 individual paintings of the Middle East colors. Their shape is a stylized brushstroke used as color samples for Pittsburgh paints. Within the outline of each stylized shape, I painted a very active freehand stroke. Included are such names as Arabian Beige, Arabian Brown, Arabian Nights, Alibaba, Eau de Nile, Egyptian Blue, Egyptian Green, Sahara Sand, Saudi Sand, Persian Gulf, Persian Green. The color of the wall is Persian Gulf. The next work is called The Native. It also includes a photo cross-section from its painting on canvas. On this painting, arranged in alphabetical order, we see 74 colors with names derived from North and South American native cultures, selected from 11 different domestic paint companies. The colors include adobe moss, arrowhead, Aztec, Chippewa, Comanche, Iroquois, Maya, moccasin, Navajo, tomahawk, and so on. The top color is Indian red, and the wall is painted with Apache. So on. I made a separate series of 20 chipboard paintings using the 20 colors from the native, which contain the word Indian: Indian bead, Indian blue, Indian buff, Indian sand, Indian summer, Indian white, Indian yellow, and so forth. The shape in the paintings is the same as the one used in the Middle East work, the outline of a stylized brushstroke color swatch. Here I paint only the chips that are crossed over by the outline. The colors rotate with the background color of the one on the left serving as the outline shape of its neighbor to the right. Each chip is painted with many coats of the one on the left serving as the outline shape of its neighbor to the right. Each chip is painted with many coats. This work from 1978, installed in the Art Gallery of Ontario, is called the Canadian Contemporary Collection, Average Size, Average Color. The average size is represented by the large, unpainted canvas. Other works include my two red oxide paintings, 1976, and two summary paintings of each painting's average color. These drawings show how I have analyzed the 32 paintings of the AGO's post-45 Canadian collection of paintings to discover their average color. In the top left corner, each drawing has a photo of one of the paintings, below which are squares representing its constituent colors in the right proportions. And the color in the top right is a mixture of these colors, which gives us the average color of the individual paintings. These are mixed to find the overall average color, which is painted on their frames and on the background wall. As we leave the room and enter the main foyer, we see the remainder of the paint chip colors from the native. These were painted freehand with a roller on the Apache-colored wall. This small cloakroom displays a work entitled Moving Stills. I purchased from a movie still archive a large number of photos from cowboy and indie movies. They were printed in red. Of particular interest to me, which remains in black and white, is the still showing Indians being painted by cowboy makeup artists, backstage of a movie of a Wild West show. I chose them for their combative scenes and for the imagination used in the selection of weapons or methods used to kill each other. Example: knives, guns, gun stocks, bows and arrows, spears, burning at the stake, dunking in water, clubbing, gun whipping, scalping. The movies from which the stills were taken bear titles such as Apache, Apache Ambush, Broken Arrow, Blood of the Arrow, Cry Blood Apache, Indian Love Call, Indian Uprise, Red Tomahawk, Slaughter Trail, War Party, The Last of the Red Men, and so on. The work was shown at Cold City Gallery in 1992 to celebrate, in quotes, the quincentennial of the founding of the New World. Out in the main foyer again, in the typeface Superstar Shadow and the Pepsi colors, blue and red, I have painted the words, "uh-huh," which are from Ray Charles's TV Pepsi jingle. That's the way I like it. Uh-huh, uh-huh. It was shown in a group show in the lobby of S.L. Simpson Gallery in Toronto in 1992. The words "uh-huh" run into the G, the beginning of Garry Neill Kennedy's Superstar Shadow, which we described earlier. The Red Men, The Last of the Renegades, etc. So I'll select some of these. Flaming Star, Gentle Savage, Geronimo, Grey Eagle, The Great Sioux Uprising, Gunfire at Indian Gap, The Gun Runners, Gunsmoke, The Last Apache, The Vanishing American, War Party, When the Legends Die, When the Redskin Rode, Young Guns of Texas, Apache, Apache Ambush, Apache Rose. Can you believe this shit? Okay. As we enter the main lobby again, there are two works in superstar shadow. The first one we are looking at is a work that I did at the S.L. Simpson Gallery on the windows of their lobby. The two words are "uh-huh," and they are the words in Ray Charles's Pepsi advertisement. That's the way I like it. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Which leads into the Garry Neill Kennedy Superstar Shadow. That should be it, huh? The walls of the staircase carry the work Finchwell continued. It starts in the basement and continues to the upstairs gallery. It grew out of two earlier works, the source of which were office place cartoons from 40s and 50s vintage magazines. In the first showing of it, at Eye Level Gallery, 1983, I displayed the actual cartoons in a rented office. Placing them according to where their action took place, those with scenarios taking place in the boss's office were hung in the boss's office. Those with scenarios taking place in the office pool were hung in the office pool. The same for the reception and personnel areas. Here we have heads of the bosses in conversation with the office workers. They were lifted from the cartoons that took place in the boss's office. The black dymo tape running through them carries the words or captions of many of these exchanges. It was shown at Art Gallery, Vancouver in 1986. The large upstairs gallery has a documentary feel to it. It exhibits drawings for some of the works downstairs, bits and pieces of residue from earlier works, along with a couple of works that wouldn't fit downstairs. The work is presented on, above, and below a blue chalk line running at my eye level throughout the space. And it is not in chronological order. The heads were lifted from the cartoons that took place in the boss's office, and the black dymo tape running through them carries the words or captions of many of these exchanges. It was exhibited first at the Art Gallery in Vancouver, 1986. And in that time I had advertisements placed in the newspaper that described the exhibition and invited people to come and see it. It was called Special Presentation. I collected around 275 to 300, so it pretty well filled the gallery space. This one is a center fold from C Magazine, which summarized the show that is shown in the stairwell. And this is from the earlier show called Finchwell, 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 Finchwell in Osborne, where I rented the office space to exhibit all the cartoons. Frieze was at the OO Gallery in Halifax, where I simply around the top of the room displayed all of these standing office workers in confrontational poses. They were used by a business consulting firm to help guide employees in how to resolve problems. I used all of them to cover the wall of a gallery. These are the drawings for the Bob White and Conrad Black works that I did at Cold City. Floor-to-ceiling words running throughout the gallery. These works are from the TV program, The National. The words are the images that are called on-air graphics that encapsulate certain news topics, while the commentator, in this case Mary Lou Findlay, read the event. These are photographs of the on-air graphics, and I showed two big walls of them at the Harbourfront Gallery in Toronto. A couple of drawings that were of my paper that I put on my studio table, and I just summarized all my little remarks and doodles and whatever, and represented the size of all of that, all of those marks. These are sections of my clothing, which I squared and painted on the gallery floor. The squares were painted on the gallery floor. So there would be a square the size of my pants, the square the size of my shirt, and my socks. From the show at S.L. Simpson. The drawings of the words, the paintings of which you saw downstairs. This is a small blow-up of a small paint chip taken from Eye Level Gallery in the late 70s. And I recreated the layers of paint into square paintings and put them around the gallery walls. So it's a history of the walls paintings. It's just a common wooden, commercially bought molding, painted several coats of paint. These are paintings of French metal ribbons for wars, confrontations in North Africa. It was called Decoration Figurative. Algeria, Morocco, and Tunisia. While there are 17 separate paintings, I put them here as if they were on ribbons on a soldier's chest. This is a painting from the native, all of the colors related to native cultures, painted one on top of each other with a roller. It is similar to the one that was painted on an angle that is hanging downstairs. These are drawings for the metal ribbons of those who countries that took place in Desert Storm. The colors are selected from the Middle East, the colors that best resembled the colors on the actual ribbons. So on the left we have the U.S. Desert Storm ribbon, and on the right we have the Canadian. These are drawings for the 32 average Canadian colors. And these are works from an exhibition called Museums by Artists, the Art Gallery of Ontario in the early 80s. I just took the various leaflets and flyers from my previous shows and using illustrations from a magazine called Executive, I illustrated my own past, the past of my own exhibitions. So on the little caption board I told dramatic stories of my history of exhibitions. There are 6 here of 14 in all.
What's going on with this damn thing? It's not coming on.